So I walked for about 2 months, staying in ashrams for a week, then moving forward, and finally I reached Badrinath. Badrinath is a beautiful place, even today, in spite of the influx of thousands of tourists every week. But it's still beautiful. So anyway, those days it was very calm place. I'm talking about the late 60s. And I went there and I didn't know anybody there. Now the chief priest of the Badrinath temple for generations from the time of Adi Shankara happens to be from Kerala. They are from Nambudri Brahmin lineage. So I thought, I knew he would speak Malayalam. So I don't know where you are. I reached late in the evening and it was getting very cold. So I went and met him. And, okay, he said, I'll find a place for you to stay. And he put, but what are you doing here, wasting your time? I was really shocked. I said, I'm looking for a space. He said, hey, nobody here, you go home. You seem to be educated, what are you doing here? Things like that, and kind of broke my heart. But he was kind to give me a place to stay, and I got food which I was familiar with, because the chief priest, in Malayalam we say Mel Shanti, chief priest of Badrinath being from Kerala. Badrinarayan was supposed to have a Kerala food at least once a day. So he used to send me the food, and he found me a kutir outside, other side of the Alakananda. So I lived there for some time, trying to figure out. Many days I used to sit outside the kutir and think somebody is going to come and take me, but nobody came. And I was getting very, very shaken, because I have burned my bridges. Here I was, and this guy, chief priest, saying, there is nothing, you go back, why are you doing, what are you doing? So one day I said, let me walk up the hills to Mana. Mana is the small village which is the last part, you may be knowing this, last part of our territory. Another 30 kilometers, it's Chinese territory. So I walked up to Mana. On the way there is a cave called the Vyasa cave, Vyasa Gufa. So I went to the Vyasa cave and there was nobody there. So I still further up went and saw a few cells which were locked up with doors and so on. And then it was getting evening and I came back. I wanted to go back to the kutir. Then it occurred to me, it's probably this, what I am looking for cannot be achieved with this body. Maybe. Which is why I am like wandering around, nothing is happening. Maybe this is not the right body or something like that. So I said, what if I commit suicide? Maybe I will be born with a new body. I was at the end of my patience. I thought, and then I kind of calculated, if I jump into the Alakananda, how long will it take for life to go? I didn't want to suffer. So there was this river roaring in, Alakananda, sound. Almost if you sat, you thought you heard Om going on. So I calculated all that and stood there thinking. Then I said, okay, let me go to Vyasa Gufa and meditate for a while. Then we'll decide what to do. So I went to Vyasa Gufa. When I went the other way, there was nobody there. So when I came back, I saw a fire lit in the mouth of the cave. The sadhus, when they stay somewhere, they always light a fire. So I thought, if there's a fire, there must be somebody inside. So I slowly went inside Vyasa Gufa. And the same person whom I met at the age of 9 stood up. He was almost touching the roof of the cave. He stood up. And the first thing he said to me was, घूम फिर के फिर हमारे पास पहुंच गए. said, I'm going round and round, you have come back to me. Almost sounded like saying, now stop your window shopping. So I saw him and I knew for sure that this is the same person, because the picture was in my mind for so many years. So I prostrated and I said, naturally I called him Babaji. Said, Babaji, I will not let you go. I won't go away from you. I'll be with you forever. So he smiled and he said, Dekha jayega, we'll see. I didn't know that when he said, we'll see, he meant that after some time I would be kicked out of there and asked to plunge into the circus. So anyway, this was the beginning of my spiritual journey. And I spent 2.5 to 3 years with him, wandering different parts of the Himalayas. He always went on foot. He never got into a vehicle. So I also followed him like a dog. Once Babaji asked me, what do you think of yourself in relationship to me? What do you think? Kya sochte ho? I said, Babaji, I think I am your dog, your puppy dog, I said. I was only 20 years old, 19. He said, really? I said, okay. Then don't wag your tail too much, he said. I said, okay. So that was our relationship. Very funny sometimes, very friendly, but at that time sometimes could be very, very strict and hard. Short of being beaten. So, and then he asked me to go back. He said, there is some work for you to do. Why do you think I train you? Go back. I said, Babaji, I don't want to go back. Why are you asking me to plunge into this muck? I'm happy here. Beautiful fresh air, river Ganga flowing, caves to live in. Food, it comes somehow. Once a day, 1 or 2 times. He said, listen, I thought that I was preparing you and training you so that your mind can expand. Looks like it has become so narrow that you're only happy with the Ganga and the river and you want to go back. He said, go back. He said 2 things. First, your mother is in the verge of collapse. Go and see her. And stay there in this, so what you are calling, he said, the world. Stay here. He said, tomorrow many people will come to you. I got scared when he said that. He also said, there will be many people coming to you. I said, Babaji, I don't want anybody to come. I'm so, it's very funny, it's a contradiction. I'm a loner. And you know what's happening to me? More and more people coming around. And so I said, then he asked me about this talk we had when I said, who do you think you are? And I said, I'm a dog. And he said, don't wag your tail. He said, did I say that? I said, yes, then don't wag your tail. Do as I say. He said, when you go back, most people who come to you, they're in this world living. They have families, they have jobs, they have work. It's easy to sit here in the corner and say, they have their own problems. Unless you go through this, he said, you're safe because you have found something where you can hang on to, you can anchor, so you'll never get caught up. But what about other people who come to you? They are in the same circumstances like anybody else. How are you going to advise them? How are you going to deal with them if you don't know what it is? He said, you don't know what it is. It's a terrible thing, and he was right. Afterwards I discovered that he was right. He also used to tell me that if you sit in a cave then meditate for 12 hours every day for 10 years. And then you say, oh, I am free of anger. And see, one of the signs of progress of a spiritual person is that under all circumstances, the mind is quiet. And such a person will never cause injury to another living being. He said, if you sit in a cave for 10 years and meditate, and then say, I'm free of anger, I'm free of jealousy, I will not cause injury. He said, but there's nobody in the cave. Who will you cause injury to? Can you be jealous of the walls of the cave? Or what are you angry with? Is there anything out here? No. It's only when you leave the cave and get into a bus and somebody kicks you on your foot, especially with a stiletto heel, then you know where you stand. You don't know that. You don't know it. So he said, go out. Let's test you. And a time will come, keep your mouth shut. A time will come when people will come to you. You don't go there. And then if I give you a green signal, talk. Otherwise all your life you have to shut up. I said, Babaji, this is a tall order. He said, yes, this is what you do. So I came back. Came back home. My mother was almost having a heart attack. I thought when she sees me, she will have one. But anyway, so then he had also told me to lead a normal, at least appear to lead a normal life. So I'm not normal actually. So people who are close to me for several years know that I'm a little bit crazy, but it's okay. Babaji once said that the civilization that we have here, it is a result of 3,000 years of sanity. If this is the result, it is about time people became insane. Too sane, you know. So anyway, so there I was. So that is my personal life. I said when I started that the subject being a spiritual journey, I'll first start with my life. It's not the end of it, there's much more, but we won't go into it. It's 6 o'clock.